millions of dollars. And the place is freaking falling apart, man. So
So that's a place
I
where,
felt it.
what is the capital city there?
I don't know if it's Beirut or Tripoli. I'm not sure.
I think, okay, so Beirut is the place where they had the big explosion in the port, right?
Yes.
Right. And Beirut used to be, when I went there, it was like the Paris of the Middle East.
No more.
No more.
No more. The place, to me, usually those Arabic countries, they have little flavors to them. They're exotic, but Lebanon is very bland. Their food is good, but the country is bland. Okay, to
Right.
me, and so it was okay, man. But I'm glad to be that I left.
And so how long did you stay in that country?
I stayed about 8 days.
8 days. So what was your feeling every day when you left your wherever you were staying, and where you were staying? Did you feel safe?
Well, safety is not the problem. It's just the feeling that the country is about to explode. I had that feeling, man, because everybody's talking. The people's money from the bank disappeared. People were losing millions of dollars. The cab driver who took me around, he is like a famous cab driver. He was in a few books. So he's good. He knows his stuff. He says his brother was working somewhere. His brother was smart cat, a lot of money. But he was so fucking stupid that he put all his money in Lebanese banks.
Right.
So he says his money disappeared. He says he's not the only one. My money disappeared.
Right.
He says all the people I know, all the money is gone.
So
he says,
so I get that, and that's been the case for at least 10 years. My question.
For a long time, man. He says 3-4 years ago they had some kind of a revolution, maybe a revolution or something.
Right.
So
my question is, can you see this happening in the United States?
I don't know, man. I hope, man, you're not right. Of course, I hope.
With the collapse of those banks, and every day there's another shoe that falls.
Yeah. So anyhow, from there,
Yep.
I went to Jordan. Jordan is very different.
Yeah.
It's very well organized. It's very and
so they got a king there.
They have the king,
and his wife is an American, right?
Huh?
His wife is an American.
Well, yeah, he is kissing American ass, so right. A lot of people are. So he is one of them. And he's doing actually well. He's doing good for his people. Things are really stable, no problems. Currency strong against the dollar, and they're doing real well, man.
Yeah, but that was Syria. That was Syria in 2002.
Yeah. So that was good. It was good, man. But I'm glad I came back.
So what city did you stay in Jordan?
Well, I stayed in Amman. Then I went to see a few attractions around there. Of course, I went to Petra, the famous attraction, and a few other things.
So what did you think of Petra?
Petra reminded me a little bit of Cappadocia on steroids, because Petra is much more impressive. The place is you just stay there and you have your jaw on the floor, man.
Yeah. Your mouth open. You're catching flies.
Yeah. It's just. I mean, this is a special place, special vibes, and you have all those people. You have the Bedouins still living there.
Yeah.
And they're attending to their goats and their herds.
So it's like you're going back in time.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So that's what it is. The food was good, man. Really, really good. The food was good and plentiful. They will bring you a plate enough for 2 people or sometimes 3. And I'm serious. Enough for 2 people. So they would feed you. They were generous, and that was good, man.
So they had no problem with the supply chain.
No.
Isn't that interesting how certain places they're starving to death and the country right next door has plenty to eat?
Yeah, that's all up to the government. And I think in Lebanon, the government is so freaking corrupt. It's beyond corrupt, man.
Yeah. So Jordan is how far from Lebanon? Is it on the border, or did you fly there?
No, between I had to fly. But actually, I could have taken bus, but I chose to fly. It's there's a little strip of Syria in
Right.
between Lebanon and Jordan. There's Syria. So I flew over there. I didn't even. I think there's also. I think you have to go through Israel also. I'm thinking. So no, only through Israel, not Syria. Only through Israel, I think. So I flew.
So did you go to Israel this trip?
No, I tried to avoid Israel, man. I deliberately tried to avoid
Yeah,
Israel.
yeah. So have you ever been to Israel?
I've been to Israel a long time ago. I mean, I was there so long ago, I forgot, man. I mean, I'm a new guy. It's a new country, so I don't think I should count it. I was there 45 years ago.
Yeah.
I went to some pool. I was a sailor, and we were semi-drunk, and we were stealing some fruits and vegetables from a warehouse. So it was, we were young people, so looking for some excitement.
Yep. How long did you work as a sailor?
I was a sailor maybe 8 months, 8, 10 the most.
What was your job?
I was working on a cruise ship.
Oh, cruise ship. Oh.
Yeah, it's a slavery, modern time slavery.
Yeah. My wife and I tried to get out of Australia, so we signed on as a crew in a not a cruise ship, but a a transportation boat, with containers and stuff. And it had a few cabins, right? It did have
well, all those ships all those ships, most of them they have for passengers also.
Yeah, exactly. On the cheaper side, right?
Yeah.
And you can work, and that's what we did. We kind of worked our way. We got a place for ourselves, one of the cabins, but they oh, you're an electrician. Oh, you can do this. Oh, you can cook and you can clean. That's what my wife did, and that's how we got to New Zealand. Did you ever make it to New Zealand?
I went to New Zealand. Yes, I did, sir.
What did you think of that?
New Zealand is man. If I were a young man, that's the place I would want to live.
Yeah.
It's so far fucking away from everything, they'll never have any problems.
Well, except when they have a leader that's Adolf Hitler.
Well, yeah. So New Zealand, the water, it's a beautiful country. Water is different kind of blue, man. And,
yeah, it's a different kind of.
And get this. So when I was down there, they're exporting a lot of meat.
Right.
They have yep. So if you go to a restaurant and you order some meat, it's almost forbiddingly expensive.
Yes.
It's shockingly expensive.
Yeah, like $40 for a cheeseburger.
Yeah. So there was this guy. I was talking to him on the street. He says like this. He says, "I am glad you're here, but." He says, because of people like you, I cannot afford steak in the restaurant. I said, sir, I don't know, because they are trying to attract a special kind of clients. They don't want any riffraffs like me.
Right.
They want rich Chinese and rich Europeans to go there.
Yeah.
So I like New Zealand. It's a beautiful place.
Did you make it up into there?
Well,
it's like the stands that are between Yugoslavia, Russia, and China. That kind of where the Mongols came from.
Yeah.
But more green, way more green, very green.
Well, my problem is I'm so fucking cheap that I cannot. It's a problem because I really am cheap and I don't want to spend money for this and that. I'm not like you. You enjoy yourself.
Right. But I do have that motif of I don't spend money I don't have. I mean, I used to, but I don't anymore.
Yeah.
And that really works out pretty good. I mean, I'm never at a loss. Oh, I wish I had that. I have everything I kind of need. And so that's a blessing. And, the other blessing is, so Allah Akbar, correct?
Yeah.
You're moving into Ramadan, right?
Yeah, today's second day.
Yep. So I've been fasting also, but I've been fasting before you left. I started fasting. And
what are you fasting?
And now I'm talking to God. Right?
Wow, man! Don't tell me you turn into John Jr.
No. Come on. God has a good sense of humor. Look at our world. God has one of the best sense of humors there is.
Yeah, I think he's a masochist. He's a
No,
fucking.
no, he's not. He's anything sadist, not a masochist.
Yeah, okay.
He's not doing it to himself.
Okay.
Yep. We
Well,
do it to
he's a
ourselves.
sadist or a masochist, either or both of that.
Or
Okay, how
both of
about
them.
that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I could go with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't
Okay.
know. See, I really embraced the I don't know. So
Okay.
I basically said to God, okay, I don't have a clue, but I'm, my back is yours. I'm totally doing whatever without any idea. Like, I'm not using I'm going to do this. It's all my plan. It's all me. Now, God, has got my back. I'm just going out there to do my best. And
Okay.
it seems to be working because those, I know you don't worry about shit, but you do.
Well, true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
Well, actually,
yes,
actually, in Buddhism, it they don't have any concept of sin or divinity or this and that.
right.
The closest you can come to a sin is to doubt somebody else. To worry. To worry. That's the closest you come to a sin. You don't have to worry. Everything is taken care of.
Yes,
There's an
everything's
invisible
taken
heart.
care of. Yep, yep, yep. Just
And
do your best. All you got to do is your best.
well, in Islam, it's also we said Alhamdulillah.
Ah,
Thank God.
thank
For good
God.
things, for bad things, Alhamdulillah. So
Yep.
in Islam, you also don't worry too much because it's under control.
Right. And Christianity, because it's divvied out like a product, you have to wait in line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For grace?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I have to wait in line and pick a number?
Yeah.
Well,
Haven't
how
you
about
ever,
if I know a guy who knows a guy?
no, you got to wait in line. I mean, you can buy your way in, but you,
So what's the size of the donation that there's I guess a price for everything.
yeah, well, that's why they call it the Golden Gates, right?
Oh, so there's a menu.
Yes. No, and it's more like a gated community.
Oh,
We don't like your type. You're going to the Lake of Fire. But it's right on the beach. It's a nice view, that Lake of Fire. It's
Okay, so God loves you, man, and he's going to. But if you don't listen, he's going to burn you into.
Yes, exactly. But
he
see,
still
that's
loves you.
yes. But see, God has a good sense of humor because He doesn't actually do that. You do that to yourself through your own anxiety. Yeah, I mean, look at John. I mean, God ain't doing that shit to him. He is, And as I I was following Ramadan. I was, not eating during the day, having a little bit at dark 30, and then staying up another 4 hours, and then going to bed. Right. So it was. It's all
My
good.
problem is, man, I can't have sex, man.
Why? Because you're not eating, or
No, I don't think you understand the concept of
Ramadan. You can't have sex during. Come on, you can have sex during Ramadan. To your wife?
Yes, at night. Only at night.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But see, I want to have it all the time. I'm a sick motherfucker.
Oh no, you're not a sick motherfucker. You are just a little bunny rabbit. You fuck like a bunny. You're a little bunny rabbit.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, so what did you say your high point? What was the best city, place, most fun you enjoyed being there? And you might even say, if I got stuck here, I wouldn't mind living here. What was the place?
I mean, this trip, it was. I was really blown away by Sarajevo, which is my country.
Your stomping ground, your town.
Yeah, and
so Sarajevo has come back.
Huh?
Sarajevo has come back.
Oh my God! For the last 5 years, man, it's my wife is in love with the place, and she's been telling me forever. We have to go to Sarajevo.
Not only that, why didn't you buy some land back in the day?
Because if I was so fucking smart, I'd be talking to you. I'd be fucking 2 pounds on the beach now, man.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
why that's why I didn't buy. So this time, I spent some time in Sarajevo. The place is beautiful, good vibes.
So
Music from
how's the
everywhere.
market?
Huh?
The market, the main
The
market.
Yep. Yeah, everything is market is up. Everything is working, and it's no problem. I mean, and the place is getting actually a little expensive, out of hand, like many places in Europe.
Yeah. So the
So
other question is, have they gotten rid of all the bullet holes?
most of them, some places were left as a reminder.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
few places were left as a reminder. But most, it's a brand new for the last 5 or let's say 7 years. It's a brand new, spanking, shining city. It's beautiful, man.
So who's put up the money?
Huh?
Who's put up the money?
Well, I don't know who is putting up the money. Maybe there's money laundering going on.
Oh, that's probably. I mean, any real estate is money laundering. You know. The next one is, you look at Saudi Arabia,
Oh my!
and then the third is Japan. Then the fourth is Israel.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Have you heard of this new building that the Saudis are building?
Oh, downtown Sarajevo.
No, man, no. Have you heard of the newest building that Saudi Arabia is building?
No, what is it?
No, first of all, you have to have an open mind to believe in this.
Okay, I do. When have I never had not an open mind?
Okay, listen to this. Because if somebody else told me, I'd say you fucking it cannot be. I wouldn't say you're lying. I say it cannot be. Get this.
Right. You're a moron.
Yeah.
Yes.
So listen.
Yep.
Saudi Arabia is building. Actually, they started building. It's not like a pie in the sky. They started building a building, which is let me see. I am not sure if it's 70 miles long. Listen, sir. The building is going to be 70 miles. I'm going to do some research, but it's at least 70 miles long.
Yes.
It's going to be 500, I don't know, 800 meters. It's going to house 9 million people.
I've read about this. This is basically a building that's going to be a city.
It is. The building is called the Line.
Yes,
because it's going to be a straight line.
Right, but it's going to have water, and they're going to grow their own food, and everything is going to be done in that city in a kind of sustainable way.
So this is something that I cannot fathom. This is.
Well, when you have more money than God, you can do shit like that.
Yeah, true.
But the question is, if you build that building to the glory of God, it'll be great. If you do it to the glory of the man, not going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So, have you ever gone to Saudi Arabia?
No, sir. Well, actually, some people. My next trip is going to be Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and a few places around there.
Okay.
So that's going to be, I think, next winter.
Right.
January and February, I think, next year.
Maybe we work on getting me a passport, and I go with you. We would be like an unstoppable duo in those countries.
Well, get yourself passports, and don't expect me to be your Santa Claus or your Saint Patron.
Right.
Saint.
Right. So anyway.
Well, anyhow, so that's what it is.
So how is your?
If you can pitch in a few pennies, I can help you out a little bit.
Okay. We can always do that.
Okay.
My real question: how much did you video when you were on this trip?
Well, I did a lot of that, and I didn't post any yet because I have a brand new camera, so I did a lot of video, especially in Petra and Amman. And I haven't posted all my videos from South America yet, from Patagonia and all that stuff.
How do you like Patagonia?
How do I like Patagonia, sir?
Yeah.
I think I told you before. Patagonia is like all the gods and goddesses got together and painted the most extraordinary picture and just descended it to the earth. That's what Patagonia is.
Yeah. So again, give me and also the
No, I am not going to give it to you, sir.
oh, come on.
No,
Well,
I'm not.
give
It's
it
not,
give it
don't
to
fuck
the
it. Don't even
audience.
ask anymore.
Give
I'm
it
not
give
going
it
to
to
give
the
it to you.
audience. Give it to the
No,
audience. The
never
audience
mind, man.
the
Never
audience
mind
wants
that.
to hear it.
It's okay, man. I mean,
To shock, amaze, and amuse.
it's getting stale, baby.
Shock,
Right?
amaze, and amuse.
Yeah, you got it now, man.
Buddy, I am an old guy. I forget shit.
Nah, man, you. Okay, it's called. It is to shock, amaze, and amuse with a Z, not S, but Z.
Amuse with a Z. I actually wrote it with a Z.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did a European Z with a line through it.
Oh, whoa, baby, you're good.
Yeah. I'm one of your homies. I'm down.
Okay, baby. Okay, you're fucked up, man. You're one of my homies. Okay, if you're one of my homies, man, I have one more channel. I just started this new channel.
Yep.
So I'll tell you all about that because there's some from South Africa stuff from King, all kinds of stuff. You'll like that.
When you were in South Africa, did you run into any Nazis? I mean, real Nazis, not teenagers with big boots and skinheads, but guys like nice suits and little black mustaches and German.
No, listen, I did not spend too much time in South Africa, just a few days here and there. So I didn't spend time, but I will tell you what I did see in Bolivia. I saw a lot of people which you might be familiar with, Mennonites.
Oh, yeah, those guys, yeah.
Man, that was a shock to my system. I have heard of those people, but I'll tell you what. You would think they're all brothers and sisters. They all look alike. They all dress alike. I mean, I was really shocked how similar these people are.
They're genetically engineered. They're genetically engineered.
Yes, man. They look like little mini zombies because they all look and talk.
Yep.
No joke. So it was really interesting.
That's just our opinion, TV folk. We're not saying it is like that, but how about all these countries that are making it illegal to be homosexual or even talk about it?
Well, which one? I mean, I don't. It's not my field of
well, Florida is one country. Let's see now, but what is it? There are a couple of countries like India is pushing some pretty intense things, and some countries in Africa and Brazil and a few others. It's like, what? Oh, I think it was, what state is it? It's my state, Tennessee. They have made being a what's it? What the guys who glam it out, puts on dresses, drag. It's against the law to be drag in Tennessee.
It's against the law?
Yeah, they're closing all the drag clubs. The guys can't go out on the street dressed up in drag. It's a felony.
But look, all right, man. So listen, I ain't got no problem whatever you are, but if some of these freaking gay people, they are so out there, they are promoting their stuff. Not only that they are well, whatever you are, you have a right to be. However, you have no right to push it down my throat.
Right, exactly, and that's the First Amendment. That it's not. You have the right to believe whatever you want, but you don't have the right to push it on anybody else.
So why would I go to the Chicago Library?
Right.
There are wars everywhere. There is famine. There is all kinds of problems. But they have a gay freaking flag displayed everywhere. Why do I have to put that with that? So here's the thing. Right. Those gay people, and they go so far overboard. They go to the other extreme.
Any extreme is not what it is. It's the extreme. So if you're extreme right wing, extreme left wing, extreme Christian, extreme gay, whatever, extremes are not what those things are. The extreme is not what a gay person is.
I'm thinking that it's just people got sick and tired of that. I mean, so I guess it's just a reaction.
I mean, one thing about the United States, we are a reactionary country, just what you just said.
Yeah, yeah,
But we swing like a pendulum, right?
yeah.
And
True.
but every now and then that pendulum loses its swing and it sticks either left or right, and then it gets pretty, oh my God, right?
Yeah,
So when everything was politically correct, that it was getting stuck that way, and now it's
yeah,
swinging the other way, which is like, oh my God. So
yeah.
it's
So
it's kind of strange at the very least.
so I go down to Florida. So I'm sitting in the airport, and there was this transsexual thing, whatever that being, whatever. And sitting there, so I was sitting on the other, way on the other side. Wait, I mean, there was five or
Oh
six
yeah, and
seats
she
between
asked
us.
you to leave because just your
Yeah,
presence was making her uncomfortable.
yes.
I mean,
So
right off the
now,
bat, that's a bit much.
so now the cops come and they start bothering. I mean, without. So why would they fuck with me for no reason?
Because
So that's
you know
why.
why? I'll tell you why.
Why?
Three reasons. One, they had nothing else to do.
Probably.
That's the main reason. They had
That's
nothing else
probably.
to do.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I've
Yes.
investigated many situations with police, and the thing that starts it off is that the cops had nothing else to do,
That's probably the case. Yes.
right? I mean, the guy
Yes.
Floyd, they had nothing else to do.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, he
God.
just tried to pass a bad 20. And if the guy at the store just said, "Hey, I'm not going to take that," that would have been that. But no.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
the person who got the 911 call said, "Well, we don't have anybody to send," right? But they did, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it's getting now. So they are trying to. They cannot ban those. I mean, how are they going to ban?
they're not.
This?
They're not. And the bottom line is, how did it turn out? They came and talked to you. You talked to them. They shrugged. Then this other person came in and said, "Yeah, that bitch, I'm going to arrest her." And then they went after her, right?
Yeah, but anyhow, so I'm thinking. So in few states they are trying to ban homosexuality or what?
Where in Tennessee? No, going out in drag things and drag anything. And
Ah,
the other interesting thing, I'm not quite sure what Oklahoma or one of those. I'm not. Folks, don't believe a word I say here, but one of those western states near Texas has totally made it illegal for abortion, and it's not going after the mother or the woman; it's going after the doctor, right? So
uh-huh.
so it's like 20 years in jail or death, and so what is happening to that state is that there are no OBGYN, no women doctors left in that state, and
Wow.
doctors in emergency rooms are quitting because women who are having miscarriages come in there. They could be put in jail for 20 years to save the ladies because it says in their law that um, the mother can die, the baby, even if the baby has no head, it has to be brought to term, right? So
Oh my God.
even if the
Oh
baby's
my
a pimple on the outside of the uterus, has to come to term. And these are all things that you would kind of nip in the bud at the very early days. And so there are about 3 states that are close to that. There's 18 states that are going that way, and another 20 states, almost more than half the states in the union. It's like
Wow.
there will be no doctors.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
baby. It'll be like going to Africa or the worst place, Lebanon. It'll
Oh
be
my
worse than
God.
Lebanon.
Oh my God.
That's why I said,
Wow.
America could be Lebanon pretty easily.
Yeah, that's what you said, man. I hope you're wrong, but there's something in there, man.
Now, what I'm feeling is that there are people who want to push the world into that, right? And that's why Lebanon, which was when I went there, it was a very wealthy, a very well placed, very cultured country and city, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
had banking. They were the kingpins of banking. All the oil money went through them,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is like you said, corruption beyond belief. And so that is where a certain group of folk want to take the world. Did you ever
Uh-huh.
see the movie uh, Blade Runner?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
That's a pretty good. Or did you ever see the Hunger Games?
I've seen that.
Okay, so that is a good dystopian movie of this could be America.
Man.
And the president in the capital city in Colorado, he looks, that was what's his name, but he looked Donald Sutherland, and he looked just like Mike Pence.
Uh-huh.
Like that's in the near future, the guy running the dystopian is going to be Mike Pence.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, I mean that's just none of this is like written in stone. That's the beauty of life. We can get out and change things, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you do. Your travel truly. How many folks are watching your channel these days?
Well, I have 2,000 followers, but I'm slowly abandoning this channel. I'm opening a new one.
Oh.
So because I told you I tried to monetize it, but I say I was told there's too much pornography there.
Yeah.
First they told me there, I said 2 reasons. I was stealing somebody else's material, which is really not true. I have never done it. I have enough.
I mean, anybody who watches your stuff knows that's so. There's nobody like you. Come on, it's like.
And the other thing they said pornography, which I can understand a little bit. It is tacky and it is borderline.
What you are a what is in England a tacky monkey, meaning. You use foul language here and there. That's all.
Yeah. So that's why I'm abandoning this channel. I'm trying to start something. I'll be a nice guy until
How many shows do you have up?
Well, I have 300 on one channel. On the other one, I have 12, brand new.
Okay. Why don't you? We'll have to talk about that. But you should sneak me into your channel, the one that you're abandoning.
I could.
Yes, that might be really fun.
Meaning what? I should make a little thing about you?
No, the thing you should do, I mean, we'll figure out how to do this, but you kind of go on my channel. I have like 2,000 shows, right? Just, like a roulette wheel. Just spin the wheel or look at names. Oh, that might be interesting. And you know how they used to, or they may still do, have the Friday night movie, and there's a guy who kind of talks. He opens up the show, and then they play the show, right?
Yeah.
You could open up the show like Rod Serling, and play the show, and that would be like your audience of however many would go, huh?
Well, maybe when I'll bring my camera when I come down there anyhow.
Right,
so maybe you could do something there.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds
because I am bringing my camera, and I intend to go to a place. There's a place in your state called Half Hell.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see that place.
Do you know where it's near?
Well, I know, but I cannot. I forgot the name. Wellington. It's close by. It's down south from you.
Right. See, Tennessee is a narrow but really long state. 40, 81 runs into 40. 40 goes all the way across Tennessee, and it's maybe 300 miles long, and maybe 100 or even longer. But it's almost to Texas. I mean, it's right over there. It bangs into, Illinois is above it, and west is like in the west. Tennessee is really long and maybe 200 miles wide, maybe shorter. And but if you're going to stick around a week, hey, no problem. And I know people kind of all over the place. We can go visit them. That'd be fun. Okay, that sounds like a plan. So the next trip is to come see me. You're not going any foreign lands before you come see me, or are you?
No, I just go to Vegas for a few days. Then I'm just once I come back, stay home.
Yep. Sounds like a plan. How is the weather in Chi-Town?
It's a little bit chilly. I'm outside. I'm in front of this in front of this tombstone. The guy lives 104 years.
Hmm.
So the guy next to him, it's a family. The guy next to him lives 102 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long thing. That Bellingham is kind of chilly.
So here on Monday it was 18 degrees.
Oh my God! You're freaking kidding me.
No, and you know what it is now?
What?
92.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
No,
Man.
it's like nuts. And in the sun, if you like between noon and 2:30, if you walked in the sun, you felt like you were in a microwave.
What?
Yeah.
But those are extreme. Why so
No
much
shit.
extreme?
18. That's like 20 degrees below freezing, or more.
Wow.
30 degrees below freezing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything is budding. By the time you get here, it'll be lush and green and nice. So, and we can go from there.
So have you ever heard of Baha'u'llah?
No.
No, you have. How about Gurdjieff? No.
Oh, Gurdjieff. Yeah, I know Gurdjieff. Yeah.
Okay.
So who? Maybe Balak. Who are you talking about?
Baha'u'llah was a founder of. He was a founder of. What's the name of that faith? Oh my God! Now I forgot. I'm getting real old, man.
Yeah, you outside. See how it is. See, you give me shit. You give me shit.
The name is what? I know.
Are you talking about the Baha'i faith?
Yeah.
Yes, I heard about that guy. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can read me, man. Baha'i faith. Yeah, he established that.
Yep. Well, that's a nice faith. That's like, let's all get along.
Well, they have a lot of chicks. I like that.
Yeah. Yep. They do have that. Yes. I mean, that was my draw to it in the 60s.
Yeah, really.
Yes, and very free and open and loving.
Yeah, very cool people, man. They have they welcome anybody.
Yep. 1967, when I was in Local 3, the IBEW, which that was a great union, and it was very socially conscious. And in the 20s, they bought campgrounds up in the Adirondacks and brought city kids up there to get them out of the cities, right? And I worked in one of those camps near Bear Mountain. And so we were the only boy camp, but the Girls Vacation Fund, which is part of the same organization, just a different, girls, we were surrounded by 6 girls camps.
Whoa.
Yeah,
cool.
there were like 1,100 girls per 300 boys.
Oh.
Yeah, baby. And we shared 2 lakes, right? And when we started this out, the guys who were doing this, I was the only real union guy. The rest were just like guys trying to stay out of the Vietnam War and do some kind of social activism thing. And so it was, we got 300 boys that were 16, right? We didn't get to like 8-year-olds. We got the 16-year-olds, and they all had weapons, and there were only 18 of us. And they just ran us off, right? And so one of us was from Chicago, and he was Lebanese, and he was very streetwise. He had, grown up in, he's like 4th generation American, and he knew what to do. And he went out there with a pair of sunglasses like I'm wearing right now, and he said, "Listen, kids, we've called the Highway Patrol, and they're coming to put you back on the bus and take you back to New York. Or you cannot kill us. We will let you run this camp how you want it done. We will help you. We won't tell you what to do. This is your camp, not ours. So why don't you take a moment and think it out?" And now those guys probably knew better, that there were no Highway Patrol coming to put them on a bus back to New York. But they said, "You know what? Okay, we're going to run it. Sure. And you're going to help us? Great." Right? Okay. So we decided to not be Puerto Rican or black or anything else. We were going to be Native Americans, because in the arts and crafts place they had all this stuff to make moccasins and loincloths. And so we took all our clothes off and ran around butt naked with little loincloths and these little moccasins. And we made, instead of living in these crappy things that were left over from World War II, we made little camps that we all, we're a different tribe. And we cooked our own food and we did stuff that was fun. Whatever that little group wanted to do, they did. And we did it more and more. And then the next group came, and we didn't send those boys home because they took care of the next group. And the next, at the end of the summer, we had almost 3,000 boys there. And
Whoa.
all those girls camp saw what we were doing and thought we were the coolest thing in you name it, right? And the second trip that came, we knew we were all white except for Eddie, the guy who was Lebanese. So we went to where one of these kids had brothers who wanted to get out of town. And we picked them up and we drove them there. And so we had these boys, and they wanted to get out of town because they were about to get picked up because of their product they were selling. So they brought their product up with us in the school van, a camp van. And so anyway, we were party central for all those girls. And it was the most fun. And there were girls who were Baha'i. There were girls who were, who was that 14-year-old wonder?
What?
Oh, there was a religion started by this Indian guy who was a 14-year-old wonder.
14 years? You're not talking, I don't know, you're not talking about Rajneesh?
No.
Bhagwan
But there were, I mean, you name the flavor of that kind of religions that were being really popularized in America in the 60s. All those girls were it. So they would come, and we had a counselor. So all of the
Maybe you're talking about that transcendental meditation.
no, but even those. I mean, like I said, we had every flavor, not just the little 14-year-old wonder boy. But anyway, so the camp that was built as a military thing, we turned into the counselor's funhouse. Like the big dining room and the kitchen and the stuff underneath it and the cabins around it. That was just for everyone to just have a good time. And all the boys running whatever the fuck they wanted out in the mountains, about 200 yards away from us. You could come and see what we were doing. But anyway, it was one of the best summers I ever had. And that's where I learned about Baha'i. I had a couple of girlfriends who, they took it upon themselves. They were sisters. They loved Baha'i, and I was their lap dog.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Lap dog?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep. Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah. So,
I mean, man, you do that today, man. They skin you. You'd have the same issue you had in the airport,
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Things have changed, man. Remember, oh man, 60s were good. 60s and said, oh, that was good all day. Now everything is so everybody's so freaking uptight you cannot breathe.
Well, not everywhere. You can loosen them up,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my gig. I loosen them up,
Yeah, that's what you do. You're good at that.
Yep. I mean, they can get a little, there are people who get, you intimidate me. Can you imagine me being intimidating? Do I intimidate anyone?
You're like a big teddy bear. Why the fuck you intimidate
Right.
people?
He was staring me down. He had a 20-ton front end loader backhoe, and he was about 8 feet above me. And he was sitting in the big chair with the big wheel, and he's running gunning the diesel engine, and he had a gun on his side, right? And I was just like, that picture of the little guy with his groceries standing in front of the tank at Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was me.
And you intimidated him?
Right. That's what he was screaming at. You intimidate me.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Yeah, all kinds of people, man.
Yep, baby. Yep.
Yeah, you try to loosen them up. I just tell them to go to see if I'm in the bathroom. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah. All
right. Hey, fish. Let's see. Okay. I'll talk to you next week. Have fun. When are you going to Las Vegas?
I'm going to Las Vegas to see if I can buy some silver. Because sometimes you can once in a while buy silver relatively cheap in those pawn shops.
Yeah.
So
do you ever go to the Gem, Mineral, and Metals show in Las Vegas?
No, we have them in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But we have them in Chicago. I haven't been to one in Vegas.
Right.
But I should go. I'll see when they have it. I intend to go this year to Lingerie International Show in Las Vegas. That's on high on my list, baby.
Right.
You know?
So my mobster friends who have restaurants, they all go to the restaurant show in Las Vegas.
I think we have those here also.
Yeah. Oh, well, Chicago's a big town. You know, I would say Chicago probably is a bigger marketplace than Las Vegas.
Well, Chicago, believe it or not, used to be. I don't know nowadays because they have some issues with union, this and that. But Chicago used to be the biggest convention city in America.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We have conventions that you cannot. You think that's impossible.
Right. Exactly.
We have a convention for what do you call it? Iris photographers.
Yeah.
You know, like eye photographers.
Yeah.
We have a convention for that.
Yep.
I was on the train and there was this guy. I started talking to him. He see my camera. We started talking. He showed me his camera, and I said, "What is this, man?" He said, "It's $100,000 camera." I said, "Excuse me? It's $100,000, give or take. It's not a video camera. It's a camera, just a regular camera."
Right.
And his what do you call that? Lenses cost $10,000-$15,000 for a lens.
What is he shooting? IMAX or is he shooting holographic?
I don't know, man. I'm not that sophisticated. He only told me that he was going to that Chicago
IMAX.
Yeah, eye photography convention. So we have all kinds of content. But the lately union has been fucking with them and demanding a lot of money. Union. So
you know what's going to happen with that? I'll tell you what's going to happen with that. It's going to be, maybe next year or even this year. But whoever's, it might even be when they run next year, when they run for president. And what Donald Trump is going to say, listen, I've just read, we redid NAFTA, and I realized that Canada and Mexico are part of America. So to make America great, we're just going to let them in. So all those people waiting on the line to come in, they're already here. So come on, go get those jobs that people are now getting $18 an hour. You go get them for 3 or 4, and you do that for 2 or 5 years, and then you get your American citizenship because you're already part of America, right? And that will get rid of whatever kind of economic problems we have. Bingo. That will be it, right? And they'll go back to just printing zero interest money, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe he'll just be in jail in the meantime. Who knows?
Yes. I mean, there's, I don't believe a word I say. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but the parameters are there for some pretty wild, like, the weather, 19 degrees to 91.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a reverse, 19 to 91. That's like, what?
Yeah, you're right. The parameters, so it could be one extreme or the other extreme.
Yes,
right?
one, yep. And then maybe if we're lucky, we'll go back to being Goldilocks.
Yeah, if we are lucky. I don't know if it is going to work like that.
Well, that's why I'm leaving it all up to Allah Akbar, baby.
Okay, man.
I love you.
All right. Talk to you soon, Big Kahuna.
Yeah, I'll talk to you next week. To the Queen for me.
All right.
Later. So, did you enjoy that conversation? That's one of my main man. I mean, I have friends that I've known 50 years, and we've gone through amazing. Back when I was a traveler, we used to have loads of fun, because we were they would look at him and look at me, and they would go. So they wouldn't kill us because they'd start laughing, and so I was listening to let's see, what was I listening to? Where's this guy? Exactly. I mean, the main thing, man. Monday, 19 degrees. Today, 91. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You think that's normal? I don't know what normal is for you guys. Uh, March 24th.
Times since 2021 from Iranian-backed groups. And NBC is reporting that 3 defense officials said one of the radars used to detect incoming threats was down for maintenance. So it's not clear if that played a role in. Talk about what happened, why we know a lot about Russia, or at least a lot is made of in going after Russia, saying it tried to overthrow the 2016 election or spin it for Trump. What actually is documented here is Israel's involvement. And yet Mueller reports an intelligence committee, it looks like they knew, but just didn't want to talk about it.
They knew, but they didn't want to talk about it.
I got are from the FBI. They're in the FBI affidavit about this. There's documents, numerous quotes from the secret agent, the Israeli secret agent sent by Netanyahu, talking about the PM, which the FBI agent indicates was the prime minister, and lays out a month-long plot, basically from May of 2016 till the fall of 2016, right up to the election.
Is that none of the characters are likable. You know, actors like to feel invested in their characters. Do you agree that these people aren't likable?
They're not especially likable, but they're not monsters, so they're not, there's always some sort of sympathy there, and I think, they're humans, and so there's always a sliver of something. And I think
They're humans. There's always a sliver of something. Right. That's what humans are. In that interesting film that Carl Sagan wrote about Contact, right? And our hero, she gets to go on the ride, gets slingshotted out into another dimension universe, and she meets the extraterrestrials who we can't even relate to, right? We see them in that shimmering, right behind your eyelids, your imaginary mirror, right? And so, and the guy goes, "You humans you're so capable of doing the most amazingly beautiful, loving things, and at the same time, capable of doing the most terrible, horrific." We'll be talking to you, see how you work out. Look at those eyes. Look at those. That's why they call me Owl. So, and I got these little guys up here. So, and this other guy, he's talking about. He's a reporter. Our media is totally owned. We get no truth whatsoever. And as Goebbels said, the best propaganda is 60% truth, 40% lies. Right?
the interesting thing about all those characters is it's those perennial themes of power and love and family. It's a family dynamic, and it's the sort of absence of love from the father figure, Logan Roy, who's the sort of center of it all, and around whom everyone sort of orbits. And so I feel a great deal of sympathy for them in a strange way, because they don't, often it seems to me they don't have an awful lot of confidence because they don't feel terribly loved by their father or their mother, indeed.
I mean, Brian Cox does this so well. One of the little things he does is when someone will approach him and say something important, and he'll listen and just say, mm-hmm.
Sounds like God, right?
Utterly non-committal.
Christian
I know
God.
you think this is important. I have power, and you're not getting an ounce of affirmation from me.
That's right.
Puts you really off balance, I think.
If you're expecting that out of God,
slightly off balance, they never really
you're not loving anyone. You're not loving yourself. You're not
the other big relationship,
having faith.
Besides your wife, Siobhan, is the younger member of the Waystar crew, cousin Greg, who is a terrific character. He's sort of, I guess you might say, endowed with more ambition than brains. And you as Tom kind of take him under your
Sounds
wing
like
and
most
kind
people
of
I
mock
know.
him and torture him at times. And it's hard not to see Tom as a guy who is dumped on by others in the family, including his wife, and that he just sends some of that abuse down to Greg because he can. Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's certainly a case of kicking the cat with old Gregory.
Well, I want to play a scene of you and cousin Greg, and this is in the last episode of the season, and it's after the moment when you as Tom have decided to make your move against Siobhan, his wife, and her brother, the other Roy siblings, and effectively switch sides. And in this scene, he comes to Greg and invites him to join him. There's some noise here. This is at an outdoor wedding reception. To just ask Greg if he wants to come along with him and his enterprise. One note for the dialogue. Earlier in the series, when the company was in trouble, Greg had to testify before Congress. And
This is like Fox Television, right?
I mention that because Tom is going to bring this up as he has the conversation with Greg. So this is cousin Greg, played by Nicholas Braun, and we will hear our guest, Matthew McFadyen, as Tom speak first.
Greg, listen.
What's up?
So, things may be in motion.
As in, is anyone going to jail?
No. So, do you want to come with me? Sports?
Can I ask for a little more information?
No. Don't think so. I might need you as my attack dog.
Right.
Like a Greg Wilder.
Tom's attack dog. Nice. I mean, I have Bright Star Buffalo in my hip pocket. I'm kind of a big deal. So,
You yourself before Congress, Greg.
that's your opinion.
I don't recall, Your Honor. I don't recall. You're a joke, man. Who has ever looked after you and this family?
All right. Well, in terms of where I could be getting to if I were to come with,
You could be heading away from the endless middle and towards the bottom of the top.
bottom of the top.
The bottom of the top.
And could I get my own, like,
Your own Greg,
yeah,
you could have 20.
heavy entry in the HBO series Succession. That's our guest, Matthew McFadyen, and
Oh, it's all around us. I mean, that's the beauty of what we're going through at this time. But I'm reading this series. I forgot the guy's name. He wrote them in 1991. It's called the series. I don't know if they call the whole series, but the first book was Master and Commander, about the English Navy of the latter part of the 18th century, right after the Revolution, and England is exerting itself as an empire, right? And you're realizing why did England have a Revolutionary War? They had it, right? And they did it for a few years, right? And Washington basically lost every fight except for the last one. And he's losing that one, and then all of a sudden the English said, "Okay, we give up," and turned around and walked away. Why did they do that? They had the biggest army, the best discipline, the more guns, the more money, the more everything. Half the population of the United States wanted to stay English. The thing is, the king didn't want it. The king wanted to get away from America. It was just too expensive, too much problems, and it was taking him away from his real interest, and that was to take over Asia and Africa. Right? Not forget America. It was, it's no shortcut to the east. No, that's not where the money is. The east is where the money is, right? So he had to be able to drop out of there. So he let the Americans win the revolution, right? Then he went away, and they fought among themselves. He did all kinds of stupid stuff, and then he came back in 1812 to the islands and the Potomac and straight up the Potomac to D.C., burned it to the ground, said, okay, mother, I'm going to kill every one of you, unless you do exactly what I say. We're now going to have a special relationship. From here on in, you're going to, when I say jump, you're going to say how. 1 hour, 1 second, 11, all those zeros. So, Half Hell, North Carolina. Is that where it is? Okay. So anyway, what else is new? It's gonna be okay. Just let God watch your back. If you get caught up in this crap, not what you just heard about Greg and all. I mean, that is just more of the same as it ever was, right?
Fatty and cousin Greg, played by Nicholas Byrne. It's so funny to hear him. I'm kind of a big deal.
I love it. He's so pleased with himself, and he's so delighted at the prospect of moving away from the endless middle towards the bottom of the top.
Bottom of the top.
Just beautiful writing. It's so great. It's so. I mean, not only is it wonderful acting with Nick and everybody. I mean, they're
beginning of the week of action. Historically large protests, even by French standards. They're ignoring the opinion polls. Labor unions that have said, let's negotiate something. And so all of this is fueling this movement. And right now, it feels very similar to the Yellow Vest movement back in late 2018, early 2019, where you have this government that it doesn't seem to understand the anger that it's unleashed.
So can you talk about...
No, they do understand the anger they're releasing.
Where it's possible this would be rolled back.
They have no legitimacy, in my view, to offer a peace plan if they are unwilling to say what Putin did a decade and saying he's one of our close friends and unwilling to criticize what Putin did. That does not give them much of a moral legitimacy for a peace plan. I think where we should have a peace plan is clearly saying that Putin was wrong. It was unprovoked. We want to have the territorial sovereignty of Ukraine and stand up for Ukraine, but we need to have at the same time dialogue. And you may have countries like India or others that could be better brokers. Now, India at least has condemned Putin's invasion, but my view of it is that we have to support Ukraine.
Last few weeks, there was an enormous investigation that was revealed throughout much of the world, actually. And it was an 8-month investigation by journalists from some of the most respected newspapers in the world, including Haaretz in Israel, Pais in Spain, The Observer, and The Guardian in London.
Biden administration is doing enough to find a way to negotiate an end to this war.
I actually respect both what President Biden and Secretary Blinken have done to mitigate the risks of nuclear war. The president has been quite judicious.
The report, and that said there was collusion, but it was from
2016. Why don't we know more about this? Stay with us.
Well, the critique of Jerome Powell, with due respect, is that he missed the inflation early on, and then he's gone from 0 to 60 with very rapid interest rate hikes that has created some of this challenge. Now, I don't want to exonerate or excuse them.
Again, these guys are in charge of our economy, right? The Federal Reserve is it's non-governmental. It's a privately owned stock-held corporation that prints our money and defines our economic system. Our Constitution says not to do that. The Constitution said gold has to back everything up, right? Because, back in the day, before even the revolution, there were tons of different scripts. Every town had their own script. It had to be backed up by gold. It had to be backed up by gold, not a problem. Because the script was just an IOU, right? And now, here we have the Fed, and we're going to have a digital currency, gang. Right? You're going to have your digital wallet, right? And if the town crier and the powers that shouldn't be don't like you, they just turn that switch off. You know, no little anything comes your way. Just look at China, right? And look what's gonna happen to China. They have this control system that really only controls maybe 30% of the population. The other, you know, 70% is starving right out there in the hinterlands, right? Because they have no real big lush growing anything, right? They get most of their food off a boat. They get most of their fuel off a boat. They mostly manufacture, you know, crap, right? And I mean, you look at the only one good thing would be the iPhone, right? Well, the Apple has a little island of industrialness that you know the Chinese give them slaves. People feel so terrible they want to jump out. They jump out windows, and the windows are like barred, and they have nets underneath them. You know, is this the world you want? Whoa! So let's see. Go back to Amy.
The bank management. They were greedy. They were in long-term bonds for a slightly higher interest rate with no hedge on it, and they had large, wealthy depositors with no diversification. So the first blame is with the bank executives, but the Fed's rapid increase of interest rates contributed, and the fact that the Fed had this warning without enforcement was a problem, but that's because of the weakening of the Dodd-Frank regulations. Ultimately,
And you know, Barney Frank was on the board of the bank that collapsed, and he got a big bonus hours before the collapse. And don't believe a word I
is
said.
the
I don't
Federal
know.
Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, that's supposed to be regulating these banks, and they would have much more authority if they had Dodd-Frank type regulations.
But they don't.
So you have the San Francisco-based bank First Republic, a big crisis right now, being relegated to junk. And so you have a lot of people who are saying, well, we've got to just invest in the largest banks, calling them the most stable. At the same time, you have a massive climate protest this week across the country where people are cutting up their credit cards to these banks because of their fossil fuel promotion. So just asking, you are talking about shoring up community banks. How do you do that now? And how do you tell people that where they're banking, if it's outside the big ones, Citibank and Chase, Bank of America, are safe?
30,000 of the neighborhood banks.
I mean, we need to protect community banks, and you're absolutely right. Otherwise, all the money is going to go into the big four banks, and that's going to be bad for regional economic development or for some of the causes that you're talking about if the power is all consolidated with the big four banks.
Just
the
like
first one is in the last 10 years of the 73
it's in the
bank
hands
failures,
of 7 corporations.
in almost all of them, I think it's 72 or 73 of them, the depositors have been guaranteed. So in our recent history, depositors are guaranteed.
You know, when the cows are in that little thing going towards water, that's
that depositors in this country will be guaranteed, at least for the next year or two. And how are we going to pay for that? We're going to pay for that with a bank fee, a bank premium, and require accounts over 250,000 to have a fee to be able to pay for that insurance. Right now, it's basically like you've got healthy account holders. People have $1 million, $2 million. I analogize them to uninsured drivers. They're out there. They don't have any insurance. If they cause harm, it's the taxpayer that ends up doing the deposit guarantee. We ought to have a mandatory fee over $250,000 and then be able to guarantee those depositors.
So as we talk about the horrors of capitalism right now, I wanted to go to your vote on the horrors of socialism, so-called. In early February, Republicans in Congress had a vote to denounce the horrors of socialism, specifically referring to it in that way. Congressmember Khanna, you were the national co-chair of a socialist candidate for president, right, of Bernie Sanders. And yet, unlike AOC, unlike even Steny Hoyer, unlike Rashida Tlaib, you actually voted to support this, to surprise of many.
But That's a fair question. I have always called myself an FDR Democrat. I have tried to make the case that Medicare for all, free public college, universal child care, a livable wage are policies that are not just, but are that are going to lead to economic growth, that are going to lead to entrepreneurship, that are going to lead to innovation. Every time we talk about child care at $10 a day, the Republicans say, well, what about Stalin? What about Lenin? What about Pol Pot? And that is a rhetorical tactic that doesn't solve people's problems. What I have tried to do is frame progressive principles as consistent with the free enterprise system of the United States, as Hamilton, as FDR did. And that's why I voted that way. But I understand that people also voted a different way, and I respect that vote.
I want to turn to TikTok. On Thursday, the TikTok CEO, Shouzi Chu.
It is a carbon bomb. There is no justification for it. Information that the
1,000 barrels of oil per day at a...
Bottom line is this. American data stored on American soil.
Any progress? He's going to be defeated unless we intervene. We have critical intel. The key is in your hands, the text read. Later,
be able to pay for that insurance. Right now, it's basically like you've got these wealthy account holders, people who have $1 million, $2 million, depositors.
Benjamin.
The American people don't want to keep fueling a proxy war with Russia that could lead us to World War III or a nuclear holocaust. You're supposed to be a diplomat, start negotiating. You know, if you don't like the Chinese proposal, where is your peace proposal?
So that's peace activist Medea Benjamin. If you could respond to what she's saying, where are the negotiations? China has put forward a peace plan. Where is the Biden administration peace plan being put forward? Do you think the Biden administration is doing enough to find a way to negotiate an end to this war?
I actually respect both what President Biden and Secretary Blinken have done to mitigate the risks of nuclear war. The president has been quite judicious in not wanting to escalate tensions with the Soviet Union. When Putin was the president did not respond in kind. He has been cautious, criticized by Republicans on the Hill in not having weapons to Ukraine that would be offensive, that would have any risk of getting into Russian territory. Where I think China has missed the opportunity for global leadership is they have still not denounced Putin's clear aggression and war in Ukraine. I mean, they have no legitimacy, in my view, to offer a peace plan if they are unwilling to say what Putin did was wrong. And if Xi Jinping is meeting with Putin over 40 times in the last decade, and saying he's one of our closest friends and unwilling to criticize what Putin did, that does not give them much of a moral legitimacy for a peace plan. I think where we should have a peace plan is clearly saying that Putin was wrong, it was unprovoked. We want to have the territorial sovereignty of Ukraine and stand up for Ukraine, but we need to have at the same time dialogue. And you may have countries like India or others that could be better brokers. Now, India at least has condemned Putin's invasion, but my view of it is that we have to support Ukraine while working at the same time to keep the channels of dialogue open to have some just peace. And I was fine and supported the second Blinken meeting last month in India. We should continue the dialogue, saying that Putin was clearly in the wrong in this case.
Finally, we just have 30 seconds. President Biden has approved the massive ConocoPhillips oil and gas development in Alaska. The $7 billion Willow project expected to produce 180,000 barrels of oil per day, adding some 240 million metric tons of greenhouse gas pollution to the atmosphere over 30 years. You're a congressmember from California. You certainly know the effects of the climate catastrophe, and not just in California, Malawi and Madagascar, all over the world. Your response to this approval?
It's a colossal mistake by the. It is a carbon bomb. There is no justification for it. It's undermining the very goals of the Inflation Reduction Act, the largest climate package. It is going to be alienating young voters, the very voters that admired the president's work on climate and on student debt relief. I had advocated very strongly, as have many progressives, that this is just a wrong decision. It's a mistake, and it sends a horrible message to young voters and climate activists around the country.
Silicon Valley Congressmember Ro Khanna, Congressmember from California, Deputy Whip of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, as well as on the House Select Committee on China. Thank you so much for being with us. When we come back, investigative journalist James Bamford reveals how Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu clandestinely tried to help Donald Trump get elected in 2016. Why don't we know more about this? Stay with us. Revolution starts. The Poor Innocent Song by the Palestinian singer and songwriter Rasha Nahas. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As protests rock Israel against the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his plan to overhaul Israel's judiciary, we turn now to look at how Netanyahu secretly tried to help Donald Trump win the 2016. That's the focus of a new cover story in The Nation headlined Candidate and the Spy. Longtime award-winning investigative journalist James Bamford reveals Netanyahu dispatched a secret United States in the spring of 2016 to meet with Mr. Trump and offer to share secret intelligence with the campaign against Hillary Clinton. The story is based in part on a series of text messages sent by the Israeli Trump advisor Roger Stone. In one message from August 2016, the agent wrote, quote, "Roger, hello from Jerusalem. Any progress? He's going to be defeated unless we intervene. We have critical intel. In your hands," the text read. Later, the agent wrote, quote, "October surprise is coming." James Bamford writes, quote, "While the American media and political system fixated on Russian President Vladimir Putin and his armies of cyber warriors, trolls, and bots, what was completely missed in the Russiagate investigation of 2016 was the Israeli connection. No details of it were ever revealed in the heavily redacted Mueller report or in the Senate Intelligence Committee report. James Bamford joins us now from Washington, D.C., author of many books. His latest, Spy Fail, Foreign Spies, Moral Sabotage, Collapse, Counterintelligence. Jim, welcome back to Democracy Now! It's great to be with us. Take us on this journey. Talk about what happened, why we know a lot about Russia, or a lot is made of and going try to overthrow the 2016 election or spin it for Trump. What actually is documented here, Israel's involvement, and yet Mueller report, Senate Intelligence, it looks like they knew but just didn't want to talk about it.
Exactly. The documents I got are from the FBI. There are the FBI affidavit about this. There's documents, numerous quotes from the secret agent, the Israeli secret agent, Netanyahu, talking about the PM, which the FBI agent indicates was the prime minister. And May of 2016 till the fall of 2016, right, the election. This was investigated by the Mueller team. It was the Mueller team, the Mueller FBI agents who actually got a search warrant for the secret agents' communications. And that's what these documents are. These are the basis of that investigation from the FBI and the Mueller report. All they focused on was Russia, and in the end, they basically a bill of health. They said that there was no collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign. They left out a little bit from the report, and that's that there was collusion, but it was from Netanyahu and Israel to the Trump campaign. It went on for months and months and involved providing the Trump campaign with secret access to the information that the Russians were picking up from Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. In other words, the Israelis, they have a very, very sophisticated organization, Unit 8200. It's their equivalent of the NSA. And they were eavesdropping on the Russians and eavesdropping on.
So that is what is known as Democracy Now! And it's a very good show, but like a good deal of the media around, it has its own point of view. And I just, that little chunk was enough, that 20 minutes or so was enough to get you a very good kind of cross-cut buzzsaw look at a political genre, but that reflects against other political. MSNBC. You have to realize MSNBC is owned by one of the world's largest industrial military complexes, GE, and it's changed in many, many different ways, but it's still this corporate cabal. That's why you should go read Benito Mussolini's doctoral thesis on fascism. He basically coined the term. I mean, it's a old Latin term. It means a gathering of reeds, and the reeds around his tomahawk was, wheat. So that was the essence of fascism. The weapon and the food. Right? You control both, and you control the world. Because to control both, you got to control everything in between. Right? So go read what Benito Mussolini said about fascism. I won't try to give you a tutorial, but I'll give you what, there's capitalism. That's when capital, money, controls the politic. Doesn't own it, right? Controls it, buys the judges, buys it's like the mob. Capitalism's like the mob. Communism is when the state controls the money, right? And that's more control, because when money controls the state, there is this liquidity in between that the politic can still stay alive. When communism's there is no alive or politic. Like you look at China, CCP, Xi, what he says goes. That's communism, right? In capitalism, you can have illusions of democracy or even social democracy, right? But still, money talks, nobody walks. Whereas fascism is not only is the means of production, the state, right, which is communism, it also owns everything, right? It's more like 1984. That's what fascism is, right? So, and that's what we're dancing around. And the United States has always danced around it since Christopher Columbus, slavery, all of this stuff. Come on. But we have this pendulum that swings, back and forth, back and forth. Look at the pendulum. Look at it swing. Yes, there it is. Oh, breaking news. President Kennedy just been shot. Look at the pendulum. See it swing. We know who did it. It wasn't the commies. Breaking news. It was Oswald. Breaking news. Go to sleep. 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 Okay. Now wake up. What did you get from all that? Anybody? What's up? What's up? Your welfare is what's up, gang. Whether you're going to have air to breathe and water to drink just to stay alive. Or will you take the red or the green pill? Which one do you want? Or was it the blue pill? I forgot. Anyway, 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 46 seconds. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. That's me. And don't believe a word I say, And it's a beautiful, 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 look at this beautiful day. Oh, and it's 90-something degrees outside. And Monday it was 19. And, our banking system is falling apart. What are you breathing? What are you drinking? War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing, except for the stock market and having a meat grinder to put people we don't like into. Um, or what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Remember that song? The 60s. Anyway, so anybody wants to put something PayPal, I truly would like it. And I have to thank the 4 people who have put something in it since a few weeks before Thanksgiving. So I'm pretty sure it still works. Why doesn't somebody throw something in there just to see if it does? Right? That'd be nice. Let's see. We'll go take a look. Let's see what's out there in Google land. Sam, TikTok. I think TikTok's going away. Not because of the Congress or anything. I just think it's not that popular. Oh, there we go. Let's see. We got this. Oh, he's my buddy. He's one of my adepts. Hints to Happiness, a guide. This book is a description of how I found joy after so many years of living without pure happiness. My hope is that it will act as a manual for achieving such for anyone who truly wants to live each day with extreme level of peace, joy, and fun. Let's see. Can we read it this way? Yes, we can. Boom. People who knew me before my spiritual transformation may not have thought I was fully miserable, but certainly those close to me were actually aware of many frustrations. Now, this is a normal thing for most human beings. I was fortunate enough to still have some real good friends, even though I could often be extremely impatient, cocky, rude, entitled, obnoxious, and judgmental. If you saw through that abrasive exterior that I spent so much of my life creating, I had built to the proverbial brick wall, right? Around the kind of compassionate, loving soul that became cased inside. One of my earliest friends described it after I told him of my recent found peace. He said, "Before I knew you had moment of joy, but I had never you sound this joyous." It was exactly right. I did moments of happiness throughout the years, though now I would call them times of pleasure. Yeah. The difference I realized, though, in my studies, is that there had to be a reason for those moments of pleasure, like being on a vacation, a perfect setting, a good time. Anyway, that's my friend. I'm glad he sent me his book. I met him almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. I was sitting out in front of this Italian restaurant in a little town, and I was sitting with the three guys who ran the place: the chief of police, the mayor, and the judge. And these guys, those guys all had to go to court, and I was just sitting there having the lunch they bought me, and they still had their lunches there. I kind of covered them up. They said, "We'll be right back." And so this guy and these two guys walked by, and they said, "Where's the place to have something to eat?" I said, "In there, they have really good, Italian stuff. Don't get a pizza, get the other stuff. Cannoli, not cannolis, but the other stuff." And so they went in, and then the three brothers, not brothers, but the three kings came back, and I had their meals packed up to go and in bags by the waitress. So the mayor got his, the chief of police got his, and the judge, he stayed with me. And so we were philosophizing. He likes to philosophize. He's got no one to philosophize with. He just does the same stuff that goes on around here. So anyway, he basically, and I call him counselor, and he calls me rabbi. Right? So, anyway, we were talking. So those guys walked out, and I said, "Wow, this food's really good." And so I went to sit down. This is my friend. I introduced him, and he's the counselor. I'm the rabbi. And he said, "Oh," and that was interesting. And we described what we do and how we do it and what's going on. So we talked for about 15, 20 minutes. The counselor, he finished his meal and packed it up and left it on the table for the girl to clean up, and said his goodbyes. And then those guys talked to me. I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing right now? Where'd you come from?" So they came from this place down, but I'm right between where, and they were kind of lost. I said, "So why don't you follow me back to my place, and you guys can hang. I mean, you can enjoy the evening, blah, blah, blah." So we did, and they did. And that was, Jomo, right? And I ordained him as the minister of fun, right? And so he was going on because he's a bartender, right? So he, instead of being crabby, he was the minister of fun, and he was having a great time doing that. Then I told him that fun was distraction, and that joy was the essence of the movement of grace. Right? So when I read the book, see if he mentions that at all. See if he mentions me at all, right? The guy who put him on the path to right. I said, here. So he started doing the Minister of Fun stuff, and then I kind of got him into. So he's Mojo, so Minister of Joy and whatever. So and this is what I do with people. I just kind of get them on the path, right? I don't really, have to be his sensei. I mean, he keeps calling me, what's he calling me? Shaman. Well, I'm not a shaman. No, I'm a sensei, a teacher, right? Shaman is more like a spiritual guide. Now, I give insights, and I'm a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemist, right? That's what I am, right? I'm not a shaman, right? The shamanic is my my window, my world view per se, right? And as I look through it, what do I see? I forensically take everything apart. First, I look at the psychology to understand someone. What is the psychology? It is the motivation of someone's thoughts into their actions. So what manifests that? So there's psychosocial. There's social where they live, what their job is, what their school is, what they think they are, what they orient as, right? That's social. Cultural, where grandma came from, what celebrations, what food you eat, and things that give you that kind of motivation, right? And forensic, you take it apart. You look at all the different threads. You don't look at it as a boardwalk, a belief, a structure, a you know dogma, right? You forensically take the threads apart, and then with the discipline of anthropology, which is studying something by first taking off your prejudicial glasses, right? That's the first thing to do. And then you step into the shoes of the person you're studying. You try to be empathetic. And that is the lacking of modern um, anthropology, cultural, social, forensic, whatever. They're all trying to parse it in a you know materialistic kind of way. And then alchemist, what is that? Turning gold from turning base metals into gold. And that gold is that unconditional love that God has. That gold is that unconditional forgiveness that Jesus is. Right? And by having that worldview and studying it in that way, bringing us to that alchemy of God's unconditional love and joy. Right? And joy is that process of moving into God's grace. Right? So, um, 1 hour and 37 minutes and 14 seconds. So, thanks for being here. I hope you got something out of it. We had a nice little smorgasbord, a little journey through lots of different things. I hope a lot of people watch this. Come on, guys, go get some more people to watch this stuff. Go have potluck dinners where the most. Hey, Sensei Al Bob has a new show out. Show this show, right? It's like, which show should I? You don't give a good name. But come on, I don't give good names. I give great names. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. See, there I am live. Look at me. Yep, I'm live. There I am. I'm being live. Yeah, okay. Well, so look in the names of these, right? The news. Love is all we need. We are off the cliff. Forgiveness. What are you? Let us go off your ego and love. No, let go of your ego and love. You are being played. Don't worry. Be loving. Grace. Crosshairs. What's next? Time. What is it good for? Here we go. What is an artist? What matters? Just us. And who is the us? Right? Who's that in the mirror? Things come and bump in the night. And that's just a few. So come on. Go tell your friends to watch the first 20, right? And go put on a thumb drive or hard drive or a CD-ROM a show or two. Let's start archiving this stuff because I sure don't. So anyway, what else is here? Uh, So it's let's see. Oh, there it is. 1 hour, 40 minutes, 43 seconds. And what time is it now? 4:17 and about 15 minutes left of the battery. So I think I will say what's up? What's up? See you tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Saturday. Depends, if it's raining, maybe not. Maybe well, who knows, right? But this is the end of this show at 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 41 seconds. So I'm going to say good night. Saying good night, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. On earth as in heaven, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. So we, in every day and every way, take the peace of the earth and make it stronger. I love you guys. You stay well now. 1 hour, 41 minutes, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41.